All right, welcome to the Bible in a Year. We are in the book of Job. This is day 5. Book of Job, we're looking at chapter 6, 7, 8, and 9. Took a minute to load there. I'm just going to give you a brief outline of these and leave it to you to read. It does start to get pretty in depth here. We had Job's first friend speak in chapter 5, and in chapter 6, Job. It's called Job Replies. Um, I'm using ESV.org today, but he doesn't actually answer any of the concerns of the friend. In fact, he seems to be set against his friends, these three guys, like from the start. If you get down to verse 15 here, he says, um, "I'm sorry, that's 13. Uh, My brothers are as treacherous as a torrent bed, a torrential as torrential streams that pass away." And he's going to reference this again in a later chapter. So he doesn't really answer Eliphaz at all. He is sort of set against them. We're looking at Job 6:15. What we do get from Job, though, instead of a response to this reply, is that he addresses the theology of his three friends and he addresses God. So there's commentators have a couple of different ways that you can outline chapters 6 and 7, and I like to break it down into 6 parts. So the first part is Job's lament, sort of his cry, and this is chapter 6, verses 1 through 7. And then the next part, section 2, is Job wishes that God would release him from this trial that he's going through. And Job uses a lot of trial type language in this whole book, and this will culminate at the end of the book when God shows up and ask Job to stand before him and speak. So this is chapter 6, 8 through 13. The third section that we can divide this chapter up into is Job declaring his friends to be a dry wadi. So that's going to be chapter 6, verses 14 through 20. And this is just before he calls them a torrent bed where the streams pass away. So throughout this, he criticizes them, and essentially what a dry wadi is a dry creek bed, a dry river bed that only fills when it's flooded. So now that Job's going through trial and tribulation, they have nothing to offer him. Their wisdom is dry, like a dry wadi. Um, the fourth way we can break this up, still in chapter 6, is 21 through 30, where Job accuses his friends. And so just looking at the last 3 verses here, but now he be pleased to look at me, for I will not lie to your face. Please turn, let no injustice be done. Turn now, my vindication is at stake. Is there any injustice on my tongue? Cannot my palate discern the cause of calamity? Essentially, critiquing his friends, wouldn't I know that if I had done something wrong? Then we get into 7. So the fifth section that we can break these 2 chapters down into is Job lamenting his condition. Look at verse 2. Like a slave who longs for the shadow, and like a hired hand who looks for his wages, so I am allotted months of emptiness, and nights of misery are appointed to me. When I lie down, I say, when shall I rise? But the night is long, and I am full of tossing till the dawn. He's and he goes on. His lament is great. His pain and his suffering is great. He's lost everything. He's afflicted. Section 6, in breaking these 2 chapters down into 6 sections, is Job complaining to God. But it's a complaint where he recognizes that God is powerful, that he is wise, that he is the one who rules all, and who could stand before God. Looking at verse 16, I loathe my life. I would not live forever. Leave me alone, for my days are a breath. What is man that you make so much of him, and that you set your heart on him? Visit him with every morning and test him every moment. How long will you not look away from me, not leave me alone till I swallow my spit? If I sin, what do I do to you? you watcher of mankind? Why have you made me your mark? Why have I become a burden to you? Why do you not pardon my transgression and take away my iniquity? For now I shall lie in the earth. You will seek me, but I shall not be. Just a cry out to God. He does not blaspheme God in any way in his cries or his laments, but he is in pain and he is suffering. Job 8 is Bildad. The second friend steps up and gives his answer to Job's complaints. But just like Job didn't answer Eliphaz, Bildad does not answer Job's laments. So, what he does do is not what you should do when a friend is in trouble and suffering, is he basically says, hey, you need to repent and turn back to God, and this is why you're suffering. So he's not really listening to what Job says. He's sort of letting it go in one ear and out the other, not really hearing Job. Um, and that is not helpful to Job. If you look at the last three verses, behold, God will not reject a blameless man, nor take the hand of evildoers. He will yet fill your mouth with laughter and your lips with shouting. Those who hate you will be clothed with shame, and the tent of the wicked will be no more. This is the essence of the prosperity gospel that Bildad is preaching, that if you turn to God and just do right, you will be blessed. And we know from the person of Jesus and the apostles that that is not true. In fact, Jesus tells the apostles that if you follow me, you can expect suffering, you can expect rejection from the world, because my ways are not the world's ways. Um, we're called not to be of the world. We're to be of Christ, and there's going to be suffering there. Um, Later in the Job videos, I will I'll drop a video on the problem of evil, specifically related to Job. This is a long video. It may be separate from the Bible read through, but keep an eye on that. Job does bring up the question of the problem of evil and how we address it from a Christian worldview. We're going to get the answer as you continue to read Job, but I'll create a dedicated video just to that. Job 9 is Job's answer back, and distraught and believing that he is being punished without justification, Job cries out to God. And his conclusion here is that God's punishment seems to be arbitrary, that Job can't see why he is being punished. We'll just jump down to the end and take a look at some of these. My days are swifter than a runner. They flee away. They see no good. They go by like skiffs of reed, like an eagle swooping on its prey. If I say I will forget my complaint, I will put off my sad face and be of good cheer. I become afraid of my all my suffering, for I know you will not hold me innocent. I shall be condemned. Why then do I labor in vain? And prior to this, he talks about things being arbitrary with God's judgments and why he is suffering. Skipping down to verse 33, and again, it brings up that legal language because Job talks about an arbiter, someone to mediate between him and this God who is unapproachable, who is distant, who is powerful, who is all knowing, all good, all wise, but unapproachable. So 33. There is no arbiter between us who might lay his hand on us both. Let him take his rod away from me, and let not dread of him terrify me. Then I would speak without fear of him, for I am not so in myself. This is so beautiful. This is clearly and directly pointing to Jesus. Jesus is the arbiter between sinful man and holy God. God himself stands in between the gap that was created in Genesis 3:15 when man sinned, Adam and Eve sinned, and they're separated from God. Jesus himself steps in that gap and pulls man back to right relationship with God. Jesus is the arbiter between sin and the holy God. When Jesus is the arbiter, when the believer, when the sinner is covered in the blood of Christ, God, then he can speak to God without fear. There's no barrier there. And we'll get more into this as we read through Job. Tomorrow's reading is going to be 10, 11, 12, 13, I believe. Good luck with that. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you got something out of it. We'll see you next time.